I was about 13 years old. I was at the Hard Rock Cafe at the time named Corel Center in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I was about to see a WW, at the time F, now E, live event. It was for my birthday, and my mom had taken myself and 4 of my wrestling pals to the Hard Rock Cafe for birthday lunch. And who was eating at the Hard Rock Cafe inside the Corel Center in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada? That's right. The Rock and The Big Show. How do I know? The Big Show really stands out. He's not someone who can be anonymous. They immediately sat down, then got a giant crowd around them because everyone was like, I want to go get signatures for them. I was in that line to get my replica WWF belt, the one before the Wing Eagle that they inexplicably sold at live events well into the Attitude Era, even though it was 2 belts previous they were selling. I wanted them to sign it. They stormed out, upset that they couldn't eat their food. That's how I perceive it, I remember. And then I turned, and there was Steve Blackman. And I said, hey, Mr. Blackman. I remember this specifically because he was surprised that someone said, Mr., can you sign my belt? And he did. So I have a signed Steve Blackman WWF Hulk Hogan beats Iron Sheik belt. It's still in my mom's house.
The big runner-up to The Rock and The Big Show is Steve Blackman. Now, of course, these calls are all anonymous. That's the whole point of the podcast. But boy, did that call remind me, and even sound a little bit like my friend, stand-up comedian John Hastings, who, yes, was on America's Got Talent doing stand-up comedy during a quarantine with nobody in the building in front of Simon Cowell. But more importantly, today is dropping a stand-up album available on Spotify and Apple called Float Like a Butterfly, Hey Stings Like a Bee. I listened to it at the Edinburgh Fringe 30 days in a row. He is so funny and talented. If you like stand-up comedy from a comedian who loves professional wrestling and did a show with me in the Edinburgh Fringe about wrestling, then this is the album for you. And this is the ultimate letdown for you. Although, caller, you didn't sound too let down. You had enough realization to be on a pivot, see who's where, and notice not only Steve Blackman, but Mr. Steve Blackman to your side. I think we would call that a consolation prize in the business, but a good one nonetheless. I think at that point I would have been just as excited. Yeah, Big Show and The Rock. But Blackman was a star. It was the Attitude Era. The buildings were full. He had nunchucks. Don't be too upset about Steve Blackman's autograph on a Wing Eagle belt that sits in your mother's basement. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.